Another day, another confusing trek through the expo floor of SHOT Show. So SHOT Show has an app that lets you see a map and search for exhibitors, which is kind of cool. It also has a directions mode to try to give you directions from one booth to the other. That part is also super cool when it works. I think it worked one time earlier yesterday, but it is so easy to get lost in this place. And again, like yesterday, this time on the floor is mostly meetings. There's not much time to look at cool stuff because there are so many people we need to talk to. And that's basically all our time in Vegas. Of course, we're not actually at SHOT Show anymore. We are back at home in the shop because that was about a week ago. And now that we've had about a week to be home, get our feet under us, post a couple of videos, see feedback, think about stuff, do some actual work for a change. What are your thoughts?
SHOT Show was good. Kind of like what I talked about in the first video that we released is SHOT Shows kind of fluctuate in terms of how awesome they are. There'll be one year where a lot of cool stuff comes out, and then the next year those companies are working on new stuff. It's not ready to release, and then the next year there'll be a lot of new stuff. There's a few companies that I talked to where they didn't have the stuff here at SHOT Show this year, but I'm aware of some products that are coming out for next year. So I think next year is going to be another year that's big, so I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, there was some stuff that was very cool, the Aimpoint Acro, the Unity Tactical stuff, some other stuff that you guys are seeing in this video, like the Zev pistol, and then also we looked at some of the SIG stuff. But in general, I think this year's SHOT Show is kind of just flat, and there wasn't a lot of really cool stuff. But I think next year will be another big one where there's just more stuff. So. Yeah,
Unity had some very cool new stuff, but everybody else had felt like it was a coasting year. But, so the Zev pistol, the OZ9, the modular thing. What did you think of that?
So grip module,
right?
Different colors, 1911 grip angle. These things are dealer cost us $41 on these. So there's right.
Just for the frame.
Just for the grip. This is the frame.
Oh,
this is the grip.
Right.
You got to do a new term now. There's 3 parts of this. Unlike a Glock, where you got frame and slide.
Yeah.
You got 3.
So you change out your frame, so it's kind of like a 320, I know.
STI 320-ish, yes, for sure. Manufacturer info there, serial number there. How's your Gen 3 compatible trigger?
All right, so to put it together, you take this thing and you sandwich it in.
Yeah, so
shove it in.
So you're gonna take this little lip here, and you're gonna stick it under the beaver tail.
Oh, I see, and then you close down, and then you go pin.
Single pin. And slide.
It's stiff. It's nice. Interesting. So $1,500-ish for a fully built Glock.
It is
basically. It is a Glock.
It is a Glock, and that is something that I was going to bring up, which is kind of weird. Like, it seems like a few years ago, everybody was making polymer frame, striker fired, double stack 9s that were not Glocks, but super close. And now with Polymer 80, with Zev, there's a bunch of other people who are actually making like. They're Glocks. There's only a tiny bit that's different.
Do you guys cringe when people say this is a Glock?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're going to say.
Oh, yeah, well, especially in all black.
Because I'm going to basically call it a Glock. I mean, it's a Glock slide, Glock mags, Glock trigger.
Take it out. How do you think
because they're supposed to have a Glock.
You can sell a little bit more definition on it when you...
oh, yeah, put a colored. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So now you've got all that. What all colors are you doing for the grips?
We have a gray, we have a FDE, and we have black.
Well, +5 accuracy right here, so.
100%.
Very fancy box.
Yeah.
Are these cheaper if they don't come with the box? Because I don't need the box.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
You can preload a mags in there.
That's true. I can put mags in there. Yeah. The interesting thing, probably the most interesting part of their pistol, and I would just need to shoot one to see if it's a difference, is the grip angle is reduced, more like a Timberwolf frame. This is very cool. How much of an angle reduction is it?
18 degrees. Reduction?
Yeah, from Glock?
3 is the Glock?
I think. I don't know.
I have a protractor. I don't know. But that's 18 degrees. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a lot straighter for sure.
It's straight 1911.
Yeah, it's very cool. That's cool. It's a lot cooler than I thought it would be. I'm glad it's not $2,000.
Exactly. That was very first thing.
First concern,
that I
yeah.
said.
I'm glad. I think they said it was priced at $1,500, which was good. I was assuming that type of pistol
That seems
build.
high to me.
Yeah, but I was looking at it like a traditional Zev Glock or like a Salient Glock or
that's true,
something.
yeah.
That's $2,000 or more. So the fact that it came in at $1,500, I thought was cool. But that's very cost effective, and it's already cut for an optic. So
It's everything that we traditionally do on top, right?
Armory.
So it's our Armory cut, super deep. You can co-witness those little short sights.
Yep.
You know, it is a touch more accurate than what we do on the Glock platform because of the rail engagement that you get off of this frame. See how much larger the rails are?
yeah,
It's like 3 times the size of the Glock. Plus they've got
Oh,
the little
interesting.
pockets for debris clearing and stuff. They did.
but yeah, no, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like I like the frame and the angle.
Yep.
I don't necessarily need the slide.
Right.
Like I'd be fine with a normal slide. What are you selling individually? Are you selling any of this stuff individually?
Grip modules are
Okay.
individual, the gray and the FC.
But they have to buy the gun
Shipping
with a
by
slide.
pocket for now. Later in the year, we may start just selling the frame.
And the chassis and everything.
I would like to see at the dealer, I would like to see the frame, right, the chassis, the grip modules, the slides, and the barrels. And that way the customer can pick whatever color, whatever
slide they want.
whatever
Or they could use a Glock slide if they wanted, but have this set up.
Exactly. You're done.
Because this right here is the cool part. Like this, it's a slide. Like
Just a
not
slide.
a big deal.
Exactly.
This is the cool part. So like being able to buy this
Yep.
separate. 'Cause how much would that be? Like $5? Oh no.
Well, okay,
Like
so
700, 600?
retail, you're like $900 for a slide and barrel.
So you're like 600 for all this
So,
with the
yeah.
trigger. Yeah. Oh look, I have a 19L or
Yep.
17L.
Yeah, that's what everybody
Oh
wanted.
yeah. So you could do a 19L, or you could do like a 17X or whatever. Kind of cool, but then again, it's still basically a Glock. It still shoots 9mm. It still shoots the same kind of thing. So it's kind of like a Salient Blue, only better and cheaper, and
Well,
you actually get it. Yeah, and you'll actually get it in the mail.
So we have one over there. You see it right there. It's got a.
Should put that in the video.
Polish.
Then we went to Sig. We looked at Sig stuff. They have a new optic that I was particularly interested in, which recently was picked up by SOCOM.
This is the commercial variant. It's a slightly different version than what the SOCOM got. The reticles are different.
How's the reticle different exactly? With the,
I'm not sure. I'm not part of the contract team, so I don't
Okay.
know what the specs were.
but it's the same. But it's the same everything, just
Yeah.
different data inside of the optic.
So you're looking at a price point of suggested retail is at 14.
14-ish, yeah.
So you can find it anywhere in that spectrum.
It's their brown variable 1:6 optic. I was looking at that, looking at overall size. It's a 34mm tube. I think I remember is what they were saying. It's gonna be priced around $1,400, so similar to a Vortex Razor. It's a 1:6. It's got illuminated reticle. You got these little fiber optics in here to show, and they'll have a throw lever as well. And then they have night vision modes in here, in V1, in V2, and then the brightness gets all the way up to setting 9.
Let's get the dot.
Or are you actually
Oh, yeah, I
filming
can
through? So, pretty cool. Also has cap turrets. No, that's pretty cool.
What's the name of the scope again?
It is the Tango 6T. Tango 6 Tango. So, I like
It
that.
has the 3-gun reticle in it. Yeah.
Yep. And I like that zeroing,
Yes, the level
balance leveling mark. That's very smart. Cool. I like that. It's very cool. And that I saw that the contract it was just picked up like last week or whatever. So that's why I ran over and
Yeah,
wanted to check it
definitely.
out. So
Yeah,
and it looked like just another scope. I'm gonna get one probably and play with it. Then we looked at their pistol optics, which I haven't had much experience on. Yeah, no, I'm not super familiar with y'all's pistol optics, but there's integrated irons in here, which is cool. Oh, hey man,
So,
I've seen you around.
yeah.
The match over at
Yeah.
How you
doing?
Yeah, doing good. Just looking at the new optic that picked up the contract, and then
SOCOM one?
yeah, it looks pretty cool. And then I just saw these. What's the difference between the? I've talked to some folks who have had iffy experiences with the Sig red dots in general, which are imported.
And
But-
Sig America kind of has a problem. In the last couple of years, they've rolled out a bunch of stuff before it was completely ready. They've also added a gazillion things to their product line some of which have better quality control than others. So people are hesitant just about Sig more now than like even 2 years ago. And so you looked a little...
This will have 3 shroud options. You can run it without a shroud, you can run it with this half shroud, and the third option will be a full shroud coming all the way back with a poly lens in the back with an O-ring to seal it off. So basically,
do you have one of those here? Do you have one of those here on display?
Upstairs, not down here. Yeah, but we do have the Romeo 2 on display here with the half shroud.
Yeah, I like the ability to be able to enclose it, so then you don't have stuff getting inside. So that basically just runs up through here, I assume.
Kind of all the way back, and at a 90-degree angle, you'll have a clear polished poly lens. And
how soon is that shipping with the full kit and everything?
Everything will be ready, shot 2020 next year.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
so this is coming.
We're hoping to have it in production by the end of this year. We're going as fast as we can, but we're trying to do it the right way. So
that's good.
Yeah, we just have it here at SHOT to kind of show everybody where we're headed with our reflex sights. So
I like that. I have that. That's the first optic I've heard of where you can switch between open and then sealing it off. So that's very cool.
It'll come with the integrated rear sight. Meant to co-witness with a front suppressor sight.
I like that, yeah.
So you can run it with or without your rear sight if you want to just knock it out. This is the Delta Point Pro footprint that it'll fit, so it'll run on an M17 or any of the new Pro model slides.
Right.
It's probably somewhere between 500 and 600 retail.
Somewhere there, yeah.
15 brightness settings, including night vision settings, 20,000 hours of battery life. Yeah, it's going to be our new flagship.
Awesome. For 2020.
Yep. 2020, it may be sooner than that, but we don't want to rush it. We really want to get it right. So,
that's cool. Looked at their stuff. We thought that was I thought that was interesting. Safariland had an adjustable UBL, which is very cool. So you can adjust ride height. Plus, it was only about $40. Very similar to the SS Precision GRT, I think is what it's called, gear retention track, that allows you to position the holster lower or higher. But I think that's about $120, something like that. It's very expensive.
Yeah. So the VUBL was interesting because not only do you get 3 height positions, but you get some cant as well. And you asked the question about how about you just swap the sliding piece in and out instead of your full QLS mount, which the guy was like, oh, it's super easy to add the QLS, which is true. But I am very curious to see if you can buy both halves of that VUBL and buy a whole bunch of the movable part for holsters, because that would bring it even closer in. But it's kind of a nifty thing. Like, I could see it being usable. They kept bringing up guys who are riding in cars. When they get into the car, they lift it up. When they get out of the car, they drop it down. That's a cool thing. Having some cant, kind of cool thing.
It'll be interesting. You can still run a thigh strap. Some of you guys might wonder, can you run a thigh strap? Yes, the regular bolts on the quick attach sliding thing are still there. So if you added the washers and a thigh strap, you'd work fine. Obviously, though, if you have it in the high position, you'd have to either undo the leg strap, or the leg strap is just going to be really high in your leg. So we'll get some of those. We'll play with them. You may see them show up on T.Rex arms on our website in the future. But what I liked is it was like $40. It wasn't, overly expensive like some products. So I thought that was cool. And then we went and saw Coyote Tactical, the company that we work with on a bunch of different products. Hey guys, so I'm here with Jesus from Coyote Tactical Solutions. They build a lot of our nylon, such as the Orion belt, which some of you guys are using, some of you guys have seen. We recently released the Orion 4.0, which was updated, and I've known Jesus for a very long time. He's the owner. So we talked over some different products, what's going on.
So this is our burrito pouch. It attaches either horizontally or vertically with the integrated laser cut slots in the back. Our modular abdominal pouch, this is the Gen 2, also has the Defender Armor sleeve, where you can run our panel. This one's been shot about 7 times with different defense rounds.
I like that. I like the combination of
the laser and the Velcro.
That's cool.
That way you could either run, our little identifier clips, or you could just kind of just run, the IR patches, medical patches. Also got our cummerbund system that's going to be coming out soon. And then this one here, which has the magazine sleeves built into it. You can run either magazine, you can run IFAKs, you can run radios, fire suppression pouches like this Blaze Defense mini fire suppression pouch. So this is an adapter kit that we design and we make for Blaze Defense.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool because, for me, I don't necessarily need to use these for anyone doing maritime stuff or wants the ability to just quickly throw the carrier on. That's very useful. So I think that's cool that it's basically just a retrofit kit for all sorts of plate carriers, so you can set that up. I think that's very cool. Can't get into too much of what we talked about, but our medic pouch is releasing shortly that he is producing for us, that we designed together. Yeah, I just have to do some photography and a video, and then it's done. And we'll sell it empty, and then we'll sell it full. So
he talked about a lot of the features of the new Orion. Have you talked about that in the previous video?
It's mounted here to an Orion Gen 4. If you see, it's got the new laser cut slots. It's also got the new foam here in the back with the integrated HDPE sleeves.
I did on the one on our website. So yeah, it's been covered. So yeah,
okay.
It's on our website, on the product page. So good enough. Not on YouTube though, but we'll have a video for YouTube soon.
Head over to the product page if you want to see the video, because we won't include too much of that.
Nice, yeah. I guess this video is going to be like half an hour long. And Isaac gets to edit it. Yeah.
And then Spiritus Systems, another group that we work with.
Yep.
The folks that supply our plate carrier.
Yep, we talked to them for a long time. Won't be in this video, but about many different things. Yeah, you got some stuff. Yeah, you're keeping from me? You're not telling me about?
This is the GP, but I don't think you guys have bought those.
No, okay. No.
But that's the GP pouch.
Cool, yeah.
Your favorite color.
Oh, indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Making Ranger Green popular again.
This is an R&D thing, so I think
What is it?
Yeah, all your specialties would be in these like holders, but we're actually developing. We're gonna make it a little bit taller, the pouch side, and it's gonna hold firing devices. So for
I like
reaching
this.
for it.
How are you setting up your? And they have a lot of cool stuff that's coming, and some stuff that we're working on. So we like them a lot, and we sell their products. And then you went over to Psionics, you looked at their stuff.
Absolutely. So last month I posted a video review of the Psionics Aurora, which is digital night vision. It was a very positive review. I'm even more positive after talking to them. So I did have a question for you, and if you don't want to talk about this publicly, we can turn the camera off. But they also talked to me about some of the upgrades that they can do to the Aurora. So I'm very hopeful about some improvements for that. They also talked about, very vaguely, some things that might happen in the future, which I'm excited about. So yeah, cool meeting up with those guys.
Yeah, I left when you got to them. I went and did other stuff.
Got too nerdy.
Yeah, it was a little too geek for me.
Which is how I ended up lost on the floor again. But that was fine because I ran into our buddy Dave, who showed us some extremely cool bags that Vertex is rolling out. Really great quality and a million well thought out features. And since you internet people are always asking what kind of pants shooters wear, I'm just going to save you some time and predict that a lot of folks will be wearing these new Vertex jeans. Here right now at the Chiappa booth in the Little Italy section, they have a whole bunch of really interesting stuff, pretty wide variety. The thing that I most want to look at is the Rhino revolver. Double action trigger pull is very comfortable. And then your single action seems very nice. The hammer is not actually the hammer. This is just a cocking lever. The hammer is down here. Really intrigued by a revolver that fires from the bottom of the cylinder. Rail on the bottom, rail on the top. All kinds of crazy colors. So I like this revolver for a very irrational reason. I like underdogs, and nobody else seems to like this very much. Modern semi-auto guys don't like it because it's so old-fashioned. And then wheel gun guys don't like it because it's so modern and futuristic and sci-fi looking. Especially this one, but I can't totally recall where I saw it last. But I did eventually see Lucas looking at the new 350 cartridge from Winchester. We are very interested in seeing the subsonic version of that.
Then you went over to the Endpoint booth. I wasn't over there then. And
yeah, so you spent a bunch of time with the Acro on the first day.
Yep.
I went and just got a better look at it at the booth. That's still one of the cooler things that I think we saw at the event.
I will say, in regards to the comments from the first video, people saying it looks too big. Well, you can't necessarily judge something just because of, oh, it looks big or oh, it looks ugly. It can still be really awesome. So I would say Don't judge it until you've tried it. Definitely, if you can, get your hands on one. If you have access to one, don't just write it off because it looks big. I thought it looked really big. I mean, it is really big, but I thought, well, it looks like a T1. It's probably going to perform the same as a T1. Well, it's a lot lighter, which means it recoils less. So I was impressed by that, and those will start showing up on my guns very soon, and I will start running and gunning with the Acro.
And it's not like a game-changing thing, but it's very cool. It's coming from a company that's extremely trustworthy. It's going to be a solid thing. If you carry openly and it's exposed to the elements, it's got some significant advantages.
Yep.
But yeah, so another thing that a bunch of you guys commented on in previous videos was how the salesman kept interrupting us, which, I mean, let's be honest, sometimes. It's super loud, and it's kind of hard to actually carry on a proper conversation. Also, you need to cut those guys some slack, because they've been talking to people, sometimes on camera, for like 8 hours straight about the same product. So some of those guys were as tired as us.
Especially later in the event, on like the third day, fourth day, those guys are just wiped.
That was why we tried to shoot as much as we could those first 2 days, just, you know, we were fresh, they were fresh, everything was still there.
We went to SB Tactical's booth, talked to those guys.
Yes.
And they are doing really cool stuff. Obviously, we use their braces, the SBA3 specifically, but the SBA4 is coming out soon. And did you use some footage of that, or no?
No. So they had some issues with actually getting it out because of all the weather. They actually had some issues with getting it out onto the floor, so I never saw it.
We saw the brochure.
But we saw the brochure.
That's cool.
And it looks nice.
Basically,
I still like the 3, but I want to try the 4.
Yeah, it's basically an SBM4 that retracts. So it's not like an SBA3 that's been modified. It's like an SBM4. Yep. But it's very cool. What else?
So somebody asked me what was the coolest and lamest thing that you saw at SHOT Show, and it might even be the same thing. It might be the Franklin Armory Providence, which I hate to say because I really like the idea. The whole concept is you have this pistol caliber carbine and the whole thing cycles from the trigger, so it's not semi-auto, which means you can buy it in Europe. You can even buy it in certain socialist states here in the United States. It's also cleaner. It also probably suppresses really well. They had a couple of early prototypes, and I like the idea. I was very excited about it, and I still am, but I was not super excited by Franklin Armory just on the floor. So that was a little disappointing to me. Yeah. I am very unexcited about last year's product, which was the Reformation, the smoothbore non-rifled rifle that fires fin-stabilized projectiles. And when I asked about that product, they brought out that same line about tank technology, about how the M1 Abrams used to be rifled and then they switched to smoothbore, and so smoothbore is the future. And I was like, oh, that was so embarrassing when you said that last year. I can't believe you're still saying that. So that was discouraging. The fact that they didn't want to talk to certain, or I should be more precise, they didn't seem to want certain journalists to talk to certain sales guys. That was a little disappointing. I don't know a lot about Franklin Armory. They have existing product on the market that seems fairly overpriced. That was a little disappointing. I don't know. I really hope that Providence actually happens and is cool and works because it's a neat idea. And I think it would be something that would be handy for all of our European viewers. And I bet it would be cool suppressed.
Possibly. We weren't just walking the floor necessarily. We were going to meetings with different companies like Aimpoint, EOTech, Unity Tactical, companies that are already making good products. So we didn't see a lot of just really bad stuff because you weren't just walking the floor going, that's weird, this is weird. I did hear of a product though, I didn't see it though, that I'm going to use as an example of something that occurs in the industry, which for no good reason, is not helpful, is not necessary, but these products do occur. People do buy them because they get sold on them.
It's too bad you told me what it was, because it would be fun for me to guess.
Yes, but you already told me. Yeah. And basically what it is, I don't know the company's name, but I have seen some photos, it is a AR-15 safety selector with a tritium ampule so that you can see it at night. So you know the condition of your weapon, if it is on safe or fire on your AR-15.
And when I first heard about this product, I immediately thought, that's awesome, because that's my reaction to anything tritium.
Right.
But then I thought about what it was.
Yeah, then you realized within a couple seconds, no, it's stupid, because if you have to look at your weapon to see what the condition is, you have a lot of other problems. So Basically, they created a product that does not solve anything. Training should allow people to know how to use their safety by feel. AR-15s are one of the most intuitive weapons on the market to begin with. Extremely good safety to begin with, even just a mil-spec one. And it's just a product that is, in my opinion, absolutely useless. And that's the kind of thing that happens in the gun industry. People combine principles from other things and they apply it to something, and they completely forget that training exists to help people bypass some of these problems that aren't even problems to begin with. So that was a product that I never saw, but I heard of. That's a good example. That's the kind of thing that occurs in the gun industry, which for the end user is not necessary. For people who train, is not necessary, and it's frankly not necessary for anybody.
The good news is that product is probably not going to get anybody killed. Like,
no.
When the tritium ampule falls out,
this
the
is a good
safety
point.
will still work. So
it is a good point.
It's not terrible. There's actually not a ton of completely terrible products that come out. I know that there are some. I know that there are some that are foolish. There's some that are a waste of money. So Springfield has a few new products. I think they're pretty much all versions of the XDE. So the least interesting version of the least interesting pistol now comes in some of the least interesting barrel lengths that you could imagine. There's also some products that are decent, but terrible for you and me, but not for everybody. So we went to the WMD Guns booth and we looked at the retractable sling stock, which is an interesting idea. It is a retractable sling inside the stock of an AR-15. And what that allows you to do is get a sling of any length, 1 point, 2 point, very adjustable. It's not so great for you because you already have a system for how you use slings. It is not great for me because I'm usually carrying in a bag. But like law enforcement guy, where he has to have the AR-15 bolted in place and that sling cannot grab a hold of stuff and get tangled in stuff, it's actually kind of an interesting use case. Now, it can't be padded because it's got to retract. It's probably exactly as fragile as the retractable seat belt that you have in your car because it's literally the same strap and the same mechanism.
It's kind of one of those old dog leashes.
It's thicker. It looks like it would not be the most comfortable thing in the world, but when it's retracted, it's completely gone, and it can be 2 point, 1 point. So I don't want one. You don't need one. For a lot of people, it's an extra bit of weight and junk, but hey, that thing has got a purpose.
Yep. There's a lot of different products that fall into the category of useless, not great, whatever. Another product that I'll bring up that is a good product, but I don't need it, going along with what Isaac's saying, is the new Cogworks slide lock, which basically puts a Glock slide lock up high on the slide. And a lot of people have asked me, what do you think about that? I think the product's great. I don't have the problem of riding my slide lock with my thumb, so I don't need that product. If you have big hands and you ride the slide lock, then you need that product probably, and that's going to help you. But just because you don't have that problem doesn't necessarily mean you need that product to solve the problem that isn't a problem in the first place for you. But it's a good product. But there's a lot of stuff in the gun industry that comes out that obviously doesn't work for everybody. But then there's some products that don't work for anybody, like a tritium safety. But that's my opinion. So. But
yeah, and there's a tendency in the industry to say, this product doesn't work for me, so it's garbage. And that's too harsh. Did you see that double-barreled revolver?
No. Well, you told me about it, but
yes,
I did not see it.
I told you about it because it was a double-barreled revolver. And then I went to look at it because it was a double-barreled revolver. And
looks like from Borderlands.
I thought it was going to be dumb, and I still don't completely understand
but only
what
half
it's
dumb.
for. But it's
double dumb.
No, so here's the thing though. If you're going to carry a revolver, you're only going to get a few shots off, and you're not going to have the greatest trigger and a little snub nose. This thing shoots 2 rounds of 22 Magnum every time you pull the trigger, and it's got 8 cartridges, so you get 4 trigger pulls, 8 projectiles, pretty hefty punch. Like, if that thing holds together and the build quality seemed fine, like, I would take that. You know, I'd love to shoot it first.
Yeah.
That's like a fine revolver as far as those little pocket revolvers go. No exposed hammer, like it's actually kind of like a thing. And front slide serrations, so that's a plus.
And tons of stopping power, so.
Yeah, 22 Magnum plus 22 Magnum equals
double.
44 Magnum.
Yeah,
most
so
powerful
there you go.
ever.
There you go. Well, that sounds like a great product. We should make holsters for them. We should get a couple. We should make holsters. I'll do a video with one, maybe.
I am super curious to feel what 2 rounds of 22 Magnum out of a half-inch barrel feels like.
That'll be interesting.
Just for science.
So yeah, SHOT Show is very interesting. We'll be going in next year doing more coverage, filming, and we'd love to hear from you guys what you all thought about our coverage and what you guys would like to see next year. But we're also planning on going out and seeing some companies and working with obviously more companies this year and doing involving other companies in our content. So you guys can let us know in the comments who you'd like to see in some videos. Could be shooters, could be other companies, whoever it is. But we hope this was helpful. We didn't go and try to cover every product in the market. We were only really showing the ones that we were already going to look at and going to see. So if you're looking for the best SHOT Show coverage that shows everything, because we're not actually like journalists or bloggers, but if you want to see that, there's some gun blogs that obviously had multiple writers running around that were documenting everything. That wasn't our intent with this coverage. We're already going and doing these things. We're going to film it, we're going to talk about it, do some commentary, and obviously some of the stuff we went and talked about isn't pertinent to all of you, like some of the stuff with night vision, some of the stuff on like whatever.
The dozens and dozens of technical questions about holster making for lights.
Yeah, so, but you know, possibly that was interesting for you guys and you learned some stuff from that. But if you want to see, you know, actual coverage of the entire event, you know, going to a gun blog is probably where you want to go, because we're not really gun bloggers, and we probably never will be, but
it's true. But
we will talk about stuff when we can.
So thanks for watching, whatever that was that we just made 3 chapters of, and we will see you next time. I might even go back to SHOT Show.
Maybe. I hope I don't get sick again.